So this is a continuation and a further explanation of our manifesting trees. And we'll start first with giving you just a little bit of a background on how this all came about and why we feel this is such an important image for manifesting. It really happened kind of by accident with me, where I've had particular issues in my life that I have not been able to manifest. And I've always wondered why that was, because I would work on those issues mentally and emotionally and would think that that's the only level that I needed to work on those. But I found that some things were cleared easily by doing those two levels, other things weren't. So as it happened, because we're publishers, we have a book in our possession from a lady who works with birth trauma and basically traumatized children. And she had written a book that she asked us to please republish for her. So as it came in the mail, I opened up to a page, and I opened up to the page that dealt with pregnancies that are unwanted. And that was my case when I was conceived. I was not a welcome pregnancy for my mom. So she went further to explain that when this happens, that the placenta has a hard time anchoring in the womb. It's not able to establish roots very easily. And because of this, it takes a while for it to anchor in a way. But further on, the uterus perceives that conception as something unwanted. So it creates chemicals around that, and literally the fetus's body, its very cells, are developed with that program. So it has a core belief that it is not wanted, that it is rejected by life. So a light bulb went off in my mind where I thought, oh my God, this program is in my physical body. It wasn't at the emotional level only. It wasn't at the mental level. It was literally what my cells chemically were vibrating at. Because I realized that, I thought, I'm sunk. How could you manifest what you want in your life when you have that kind of program going on physically? So I was so overwhelmed by it that I asked Source, what do I do about this? And the answer I got back from Source was, you have to create your own tree of life. And what that meant to me was, it showed me an image of a tree, and it showed me that I had to change my roots, since the problem was the way I was rooted right from conception, which was not a foundation that was built on prosperity and happiness, that I had to go in and literally do my foundation over again. And why it gave me the image of a tree was because it was saying that the roots of the tree are your foundation for your life. And what's ever in your foundational roots is what you manifest in your life. What Source said to me was, if you had it your way, and you could create anything you wanted with your roots, if you had a new foundation where you were loved and accepted by life, where you were a delight to your parents instead of a perceived burden, what would those roots say? What would they be like? So for me, because in a way, I just have to say, it doesn't matter what you're trying to manifest, because if it's not your conception that kind of got waylaid along the way, if it happened to be a trauma in your life that affected you greatly to the point where that program is still running wild in your subconscious, it doesn't really matter where the problem is in a way, except that it is valuable to take a look at your conception to see what were your parents, what kind of a place were they in the relationship at the time, what was going on in your family at the time. so that you can get an idea of what you as a little newly formed little fetus was possibly absorbing. That could be a program. So if you were totally welcomed and that's not your issue, then you might want to look at a trauma that you went through when you were a child, something that affected you greatly in your life, that has shifted the way you feel about yourself. Either way, the roots are in this tree because it's suggesting that you have to change it at the very foundational level. And this is where the roots are. I mean, when you think of roots, they go deep into the soil. They get their nourishment from the earth. So whatever is in there goes up the tree, and it determines what kind of foliage do we have up here? What kind of manifestations occur in our lives up here? So what I did was I started with my conception personally, just because that was where my particular trauma was. And I went in these roots and I started putting words in here that to me meant that I was welcome. So I literally put words in here like divine birth, loved and accepted, a welcome delight, makes my home a better place, brings happiness to people. I am welcomed and loved by family and friends. I am nourished by life. That was a biggie for me because if you're not welcome, you're not nourished correctly. If you get that connection. So I thought everything is provided for, loved and accepted totally. So all of that went in my roots. Any description I had of how I really wanted my conception to be and how I wanted life to receive me, I put in my roots. So then I went further up the trunk. Now I want you to consider that the trunk of your tree is where the strength is. So in other words, that trunk comes up and it takes what's in the roots and it builds that and supports it. So in your trunk, for me, I just reinforced what I put in my roots because it ended up being, I desired the same sorts of things all up through my trunk, but I made sure I put the word strength in my trunk somewhere. I put strength, I put courage, I put support, I put things like that life blossoms for me. I put adjectives like that. And keep in mind, I'm not drawing pictures in this tree. I'm only putting words because this is a manifesting tree. So you want words that describe what it is you're trying to shift in your life. So then, and I'll talk more about that in a minute, but then you go up into the leaves, and your leaves are a way that what's in your roots and in your foundation expresses itself in the outer world. So I put things in my leaves that would, well, what would the result be of if I was welcomed and supported by life? So of course I put things that mattered to me, successful in my business, unlimited prosperity, fun times with friends, invitations to speak, perfect love relationship, a beautiful new home. I put things like that in there that were the outer manifestations of what I felt would happen or what I would love to happen if, in fact, my foundation had shifted and I was welcomed by life. I also put perfect health in my tree because I experienced diabetes, and I realized that diabetes it's also a disease of being rejected by life. Because if you look up Louise Hay's interpretation and you go by that, it is the inability to absorb the sweetness in life. Well, if you have a program that says you're not welcomed by life, any sweetness that comes along is going to be rejected, and your organs in your body can't absorb it. So I understood that. So I put perfect health in here in my tree. Since we first came out with our first video, I've had numerous people write me and want to know particularly what would they put in their tree. So for somebody who's trying to manifest a relationship, for example, in your roots, when I say to you, okay, what's the foundational essence that you need in the roots of your tree that are going to nourish and support a loving relationship? So you definitely want to put the words self-love in your roots as the very first thing. Deserve to be loved. Equal and balanced relationship, you'd put in your words. Fantastic communication. Loving partner. Loyal partner. A partner who is a friend and lover. Divine higher relationship. If it's a twin flame you want to put twin flame love in here. If it's just a soulmate, you want to put deep soulmate connection with my partner. Things like that. But you definitely want to put the self-love in there. And also willing to give and receive. Things like that you start putting in your foundational roots, which are things that support a divine relationship. Love my partner as I love myself. Support and love my partner as my partner supports and loves me. Nourishing each other. Things like that, okay? And then when you go up your trunk, you want to put words in there that love supports my desire. Love strengthens my desire. I deserve love. Things like that go all the way up the branches. And then the leaves, again, you put words in your leaves that are the manifestation of that. What is it like to be in a divinely loving relationship? So you want to put things like perfectly balanced communication, fun together, closeness, synchronistic meeting, things like that. Whatever you want, fun dinners together, going to the movies, vacations together, loving and sharing home together. If it's a family you eventually want to have with this person who isn't maybe not here yet, you want to put, how many children do you want in here? Healthy children. How many? Well, 3, 4, whatever you think you want. If it's a home you want to share together, you put beautiful home together on nourishing land. You want we travel together, we enjoy loving food, we communicate well. Whatever the manifestation of that looks like, you put in your trees. And for somebody who, let's say, wants perfect health and is not healthy now, in your roots, you put, what does that look like? And try not to be, you can be specific, but try also to be general down here, because the words perfect health in and of themselves start the ball rolling to your subconscious. You can say all conditions perfectly healed in your roots. If it's a particular thing like eyesight, you can say perfect eyesight. Let's see, strong and healthy body, loves to exercise, easy, changing food to healthier food. Whatever is in the roots that you feel it has to be a foundational energy. Drinks lots of water. What do trees do with their roots? They not only need the bacteria and the microbes from the soil, they need a lot of water. So you could say, all right, drink more water, pure water. And then when you go up your trunk, you do the same thing. My purpose is strengthened. It evolves naturally and easily. I walk 1 mile per day. I enjoy myself. I swim in the ocean. Whatever that might look like to you. And you want to put words in here too, like joyful experiences and things that are very positive and happy for you. So you could even put the words happiness abounds in my life. And somewhere too, with all these trees, you do want to make sure you put the words like easy flow, I'm in the flow of life, everything is life affirming, things like that. And then you go up into your tree. So if it's health, you want to, what does that look like? All right, well, that might be perfect eyesight. That might be strong muscles. That might be healed nervous system. That might be, let's see, what's another good example of something you could put for health? All organs function perfectly. You might want to put balanced chakras in there. Anything that to you is the outcropping of, if you had a perfect body, what would it be like for you? What would it manifest like? Could be, I weigh 140 pounds. You don't want to say I lose weight, because we don't want to put anything negative with a negative connotation in here. We don't want to use words like lose. We don't want to use words like do not or am not, or you don't want to say no longer. You just affirm as if it was fixed. What are words that describe that? And that's what you focus on in that example. So there you go. These are easy to download from our site. You can either order one or you can order a collection of 4, because you can use your manifesting trees for just about anything in your life. And we will do further videos on specific things probably within the next month, wouldn't you say, Ahonu? All right, so thank you for listening.